first trending story I want to talk about. Lead singer, and we're going to start with some good news, right? Because there's so much dark stuff in this trending. Lead singer of Plain White Tees, Tom Higginson. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this guy shows up to this hospital in Bakersfield, California, and the girl's an 8-year-old cancer patient, and he shows up, and her name is Delilah, and he comes in and sings, "Hey There, Delilah."
Hi, Delilah. Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty, yes you do. Times Square can't shine as bright as you.
With all the negative stories we have in the day or throughout the news, this is great that Tom took time out to do this for an 8-year-old cancer patient. She's been going through this for 4 years.
Wow.
You know, and I used to, when I lived in Miami and other places, we would go to the hospital and talk to these kids. And it's so amazing when you think you have a bad day and then you talk to a 6-year-old kid with cancer. And here's the thing is they don't even, I don't know if they grasp dying, but they're living every day to the fullest.
They really are.
It's
honestly, is it like Patch Adams where Robin Williams was like in the hospital dealing with all the kids, cancer patients? And I honestly feel like they like comedy and joy just comes out of those kids.
It does.
Like I literally always have to take a step back because we talked last week about how I'm losing my hair.
Yes.
And I have to check myself and be like, Jacqueline, there's cancer patients.
Yeah, but you know, like I understand your thing too is because you're going through something traumatic for yourself. And sometimes we all got to take a step back and go, yo,
check
we don't, you know, there's a lot worse. I have a girl in my life that's very inspirational. My wife knows her. Her name is Ashley. I'm not going to say her last name, but she goes through a lot. Like she's a cancer patient. She's always in chemo. And anytime I feel just like lazy or not getting after it, I check out her Instagram and going, yo, she's pushing. She's a warrior. Yeah. And she's amazing, like amazing. And she pushes and she goes and she's going through all this. I just look at her. I DM'd her or texted her the other day and said, you're an inspiration. Oh. Because it's so amazing to see, because we get so spoiled, where we don't really realize how easy our life is till you see someone, and we need to be reminded about it all the time.
Yeah, we got to check ourselves here and there. And I think what you did, just reaching out and like telling someone, I think we should all do that actually today.
Yes.
Why don't we do that? Someone that's an inspiration or someone that you feel like is doing good in the world, let's just let them know.
Yeah,
right?
I do that all the time. I try to at least 2 or 3 times a week reach out to someone that's close to me and go, hey man. And it's just a random message. It'll be like, hey, I hope you're killing it today. Crush it today. Or, hey, let's run this town. You know, it's something inspirational. It's something I know they'll like. And then, you know, it just shows you you're thinking about them too.
Oh, totally. You know what? One of our costume people for Magic Mike Live went around the theater, the whole space, and just wrote these little, like, you're doing amazing, sweetie. Like, you showed up today, little notes all over the theater. And it was like my like 8th show of the week. And I was changing and I was like, I don't want to go out there right now. Yeah. And I looked up and I saw you showed up and I was like, yes.
You know, it was a thing, whether you believe in God or not, religion, it's something very simple that has nothing to do with this, but it's about showing up. Yeah. Is I went to the gym early in the morning yesterday. And you know how just back-to-back stuff will happen and you go, oh, I'm being tested right now. I'm being tested to see if I'm going to lose my ish. And man, I was in a parking lot. And I can't stand privilege in a parking lot. You know, this is the worst thing. Like, I don't want to even say what I would do, but if, you know, when you're pulling out and you're halfway out, but the people walking by won't stop and they keep walking and literally you could hit your gas pedal and crush them, but I never would.
No.
But it's kind of like, you don't know what mind space that person driving that car is in.
Like you stop.
You stop. Like I'm 2/3 out of the park. And these little women just walking about like they own the parking lot. And then every time I try to get out, somebody's cutting in front of me. I'm like, okay, like 5 times it happened in the parking lot. And every time I was like, oh, God's testing me. God's testing me. And when I got out, I was like, all right, I passed. And then it was nothing. But it's so crazy how we can get consumed so much from just a bunch of incidents that happen back to back to back to back, and it makes you want to lose your mind. And then when you're out of it, you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
It's so funny you bring this up because literally today, like all my timing got messed up. And every step of the way, someone was taking a little longer than they were supposed to, which backed up everything else. And pulling into your driveway, I was like, God did not want me to be at the points I was supposed to be at those times. It was like sliding doors.
Yeah.
Where that movie where like you miss something and it's for a reason.
Yeah. And well, and I don't want to get dark on this, but the same route you take every day, like you'll see a car accident and then you're like, oh, if I would have left 10 minutes earlier or 5 minutes. So there's a reason that maybe you didn't leave at that time. And let me let you know, if you're listening to this podcast, we're talking about pop culture and it's only going to get darker for a second. It's going to get darker. I want to get serious and talk about this. This is horrible. Allison Holker, wife of Twitch. She just released her first message on Instagram. She released a couple picture albums of them together and the kids. And she just said that, everybody's support through this has helped her a lot.
I just want to say thank you for all of the love and support that you guys have sent to me and my family at this time. It has been very challenging and emotional. But you guys have brought so much hope and inspiration to us by sharing stories and memories and moments in different ways that Steven impacted your life. And it's brought us so much hope and inspiration.
And I'll get your take on it as well, but it's interesting to me how we're quick to dog Instagram and social media. And at the same time, when you go through, like, I know when I almost died from COVID, to see people's, and after I went on Rogan, to see people's messages, it really does. Random people. And the random people you don't even know giving you inspiring messages, pulling for you, it really does. I mean, it does a lot for you. I think it does. Just to know that people care.
Totally. And the thing is, I feel like Allison and Twitch got us all through the first part of the pandemic. Like their happy dance videos, like I remember sending them messages. I had only met them like once or twice when I did the funny dance show. And they were just so uplifting.
Yeah.
And
that was one. Look, now with today's media, it's all death first. Because I've worked in news. It's the whole motto in news, if it bleeds, it leads. Like that's the motto in news. Ooh, that's why they always talk about a murder first, an accident, or whatever is the worst story. They leave it because in an odd way, that's what people want to hear first. They don't want to hear a good story first. But I always try to start this segment with a good story.
Totally.
But when, since we are so, I don't want to say immune, but we hear about people dying every day since we're all on social media. This one I wasn't desensitized to. Because a lot of them you just kind of scroll through. It's like dead, dead, dead. And that's an aggressive word for dying too. Dead when they're dead, 76. I'm like, yo, do we have to be so aggressive with the deads TMZ? Just like, oh, he passed away. Can we use passed away? Can we use passed away, please? Not dead.
Dead at 28. Yeah. I mean, I just saw Hayden Panettiere's brother. Yes. What is happening? Oh, God.
So Twitch threw me, though. I didn't know him. I never met him. But when you see somebody with such a good spirit, a good light, and everybody I talked to that knew him said he was like that. And to wonder, you play that wondering game with yourself. It's like, how could a guy from the outside, so happy, just take his own life with kids? And that's the thing. I have kids.
Yeah.
I could see I could never see. The only time I ever thought about suicide is when I was in a hospital and the pain was so bad. I go, if they had a button to eject from life, I would have at that moment because it was so bad. It was so bad. But I don't know how it's hard to imagine what a person would go through. And I had kids, so I guess it's just, I don't know, man, if he must be going through a different pain or
I feel like there's a lot we don't know.
It is.
To be perfectly honest.
And I don't want to play the guessing game, but what I love is there's a conversation about it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm older than you, but when I was young, even Dean's age, when I was 22, if you said, I don't feel right in the head, people could say, oh, you're crazy, you're loony. You know, you couldn't say you had mental issues.
Oh, totally. Like I definitely went through a period where I was going to a therapist, a psychologist, and I hid it from a lot of people. I come from like an Italian American family, and that's kind of really looked down upon. I think still.
I think a lot of cultures it is.
Yeah,
it's a sign of weakness.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
And I think especially where Twitch was coming from, that still is like a sign of weakness. And if anything, I like to see the silver lining maybe in it. Maybe it's opening up a conversation and making other people want to seek help that could be in that dark place.
So.
I don't know.
I hope so, because her video message was so heartfelt.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a thing where they just seem like so perfect, and the family is beautiful, and it's like what this man was going through to step away from that, you know, it's just very sad, and we'll never know what the real reason is, and we shouldn't know. It's not our business. Shouldn't.